Hello and welcome back to my channel. This week we are doing another week ahead tarot reading based off of the many decks that I have on the table. You're going to be picking your pile from this Crystal Wisdom deck. I've got 3 cards from this deck down that you're going to pick from, and just a little bit of information about what the next week is like astrologically. First off, we've got the full moon in Capricorn, right? And so that gives us this air of goals and how we envision ourselves being a contribution to the world around us, to society, and to our homes, right? How we contribute to our homes and how we also take care of ourselves emotionally, right? Taking responsibility of our emotions. All of the other stuff that's going on, we've got the Sun square to Chiron, we've got Mercury square to Jupiter, Venus trine Saturn, and then Mercury also squaring Chiron. So all of these things, I know it's a lot of like babble about astrology and some of it might not make sense, but essentially what it's saying is you may find yourself putting so much pressure on yourself. The way that you're processing things internally, it's a good thing that you're allowing your thoughts to run, but at the same time, how can we kind of contain the spiral? Jupiter and Mercury can really create this like large conversation and making it much bigger than it has to be. And instead, we can use that energy to think positively. Literally, Mercury rules thinking and Jupiter rules positivity and growth and expansion and luck and blessings. So being able to turn the narrative, twist the narrative from a self-deprecation to an optimism of the way that you are processing things, the way that you are assessing, or the way that you are feeling things, right? This Sun in Cancer being square to Chiron in Aries, we're given this opportunity, although it might not feel like an opportunity depending on the way that your mindset is, we're given this opportunity to really heal through what is being enlightened for us, through what is being illuminated in our lives. And yes, it might be painful, and yes, it might cause some grief or some despair or some difficulty, but essentially, you are only pushed to grow when you're in a difficult place. So if you're in a place where you're struggling, where you're grieving or mourning or just feeling some sense of pain and you feel like it's very internal, like the way that you're communicating to yourself is causing more pain, try and twist that narrative into, okay, how can I grow from this? What is the lesson that I'm learning from this? Because Venus trine Saturn is basically, Saturn is saying, okay, I am giving you this huge lesson. I want you to learn from this. Here's the homework. Do your homework. And Venus is here to indulge in the feeling of the homework. How do you exhibit and embody all of that healing within your physical self, within your values? And instead of stressing out about all of the lessons or the like pains that you're going through, Venus is the ruler of Libra. It wants harmony, it wants balance and beauty. So instead, take these challenges on with grace. So that's kind of what I have for the astrology of this week. If you are watching this video after the week of July 9th, then you could have just skipped ahead to the reading portion of it. But let's get into it. Before we do, just a couple of shameless plugs. I am offering one-on-one private tutoring with astrology. So if you're interested in learning astrology and learning the language of astrology, go check that out on my website, harveymountainalchemy.com. I also teach some 6-week courses. So if you're interested in that, like I said, go check that out on my website. All right, let's get started. All right, so these are the cards. Pile 1, you have got this Malachite card. Pile 2, this Moonstone. And pile 3, Tiger's Eye. All right, pile 1, you chose this Malachite card. And the affirmation it says is, I am a healing machine manifesting miracles. I love that. That is powerful. I always think of Malachite as like very scorpionic, like it really gets to the source of it. I love that it also has these sort of rings. So it's like all of these layers and you just like tuck one layer off one at a time. So we're going to start off by looking at what the theme of the week is. Sort of what is the major overall energy of this week for you? Oh, the 5 of Swords. So that really speaks to what I said in the intro. If you didn't watch it, go back because it talks about the astrology of this week briefly. But this 5 of Swords essentially is saying it's a really good idea for you to change the way that you're looking at things, change the way that you are perceiving things. Mercury not only rules our logical assessment, it also rules our perception, because all of us have a different perspective, have a different way of perceiving our surroundings based off of what our internal process is, how we're assessing the situation. So for you, you have the power to completely change your perception of your situation this week. Instead, it really is going back to that twisting of the narrative. So recalibrating the way that maybe you communicate to yourself. You know, maybe you're doing some body shaming, or maybe you are slammed at work and you're judging yourself for not getting enough work done, or, you know, maybe there are just some personal goals that you're not achieving and you're blaming yourself for it, right? Setting in that shame. But instead, it's time to twist the narrative, and instead of saying like, oh, you haven't lost this weight yet, or oh, you haven't gotten that work done yet, say, oh, I'm working on losing that weight. Oh, I'm working on getting that job done. Right? Knowing that you're still in the process. And I think that sort of feeds into this idea that once we have an idea, we are told to get it done right away, right? There's no like sitting time, there's no slowing down time. And with Mercury and Mars both having entered Taurus and Cancer, it's really about the slowing down and indulging in the moment. That's really what it is for you, is indulging in the moment and recognizing what comes up for you when you indulge in the moment. How does slowing down really feel for you? So that's what this week is really giving you, is the opportunity to change the narrative, changing the way that you're kind of speaking to yourself, that rewiring process. Let's see then. How will this present itself to you throughout the week? Ooh, well, this guy, interesting. We got Justice. Kind of speaks to the Libra, right? Venus trying to Saturn at some point this week. The seeking of harmony and balance, even though there are some delays. So instead of seeing those delays and being frustrated by them, it's almost like, okay, but see how this literally gives you the moment to slow down. There's nothing you can do about this delay. So how can you change the way that you perceive the delay? And instead of being frustrated by it, say, okay, I guess I'm being given the day off. Okay, let's see how else this will present itself to you. The Three of Wands and the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, this Three of Wands I do see as personal goals. So whatever delays you're feeling in your personal goals, like if it is losing weight, or if it is, finding a partner, or trying to have a child, or something more, intense and like life-changing like that. But it also can be smaller things, right? If it's just, oh, I want to eat better, or, oh, I need to, do more self-care throughout the week. Those little personal goals are equally as important for you in this moment. So if you're experiencing some delays, this is where you're really being given the opportunity to change the narrative and switch your mindset. The Two of Pentacles, it really does feel like balance is at play for you, right? We've got Justice and we've got the Two of Pentacles. And so this to me is like, there's Libra and there's Taurus, right? Venus is really a major emphasis for you this week. How can you really balance things out in a way that mentally makes you feel okay, but also physically and practically you can uphold and sustain, right? And this Three of Wands, right? Step back, look at the big picture here. How are these little goals that are being delayed, or how are even the bigger goals that are being delayed, playing into the larger story of your life, right? Mercury square Jupiter. Jupiter is all about the big picture, and Mercury is all about fine-tuning the details and absorbing all the little pieces of information. So how can we sort of put those together, and instead of be so focused on the details, to see the bigger picture here? All right, so let's pick from this tea leaf fortune deck. I want to see if any specifics come out when it comes to these four cards that I picked for you. We've got Seahorse, Family Matters on top of the Justice card. So right on top of this card of balance and equality, you have this Family Matters card. So maybe that full moon in Capricorn, which means the sun is in Cancer and the moon is in Capricorn. Cancer rules the home. Cancer rules the mother. So maybe there's something about this week that is telling you to like kind of work through some of your relationship with your mother, or with your family, or even within the mother within you, right? That like nurturer, that emotional part of yourself that maybe you don't let shine so much. Something about like feeling safe and protected, right? Cancer has this, is a crab, it has its little shell to go back to and to revert back to. The word revert is coming through really strong. So where in your family, at what point do you feel like you maybe regress into an old version of yourself? Saturn is giving you the opportunity to face your past, right? Because Saturn rules your karma, it rules your cycles, it rules life lessons. And so Saturn is giving you the opportunity to really look at your past and look how you can grow from it, right? So if you feel like maybe in your family or in any other situation, but for this, it came up with family. If you feel like maybe you're regressing when you see your mother, or when you regress, that you can't really like get out of it, this is your opportunity to slow down. Don't tell yourself you can't take yourself out of it, and then move forward, right? Literally take yourself out of it. Change the narrative, because that really is just a choice that you have to make. All right, let's see what else comes up out of these tea leaf cards. Kind of feel like a day of the week is going to come out, which would be, let's see, happiness. Look at that. Happiness came out on Justice and sort of on the Three of Wands as well. So these personal goals, when it comes to what you're balancing, how much are you really putting on yourself? How much weight and what kind of burdens are you taking on right now? And maybe it's stuff that you love, so it doesn't feel like a burden. But if you're putting too much on your plate, some of the stuff that kind of fuels your happiness is going to start feeling burdensome. So really what this week is saying is slow down, take some things off your plate, reassess the situation, and see the bigger picture. Let's see what it is more long-term that this week is offering you, right? What is it in your long-term bigger picture is this week? Ooh, there we go. The Ten of Swords. Wow. So like the Billie Eilish card. Yeah, this Ten of Swords. The end of a mental cycle, the end of feeling stuck in your ways, the end of feeling stuck in your mental patterns and your habits. It really feels like you're also going to be very vulnerable, because look at that in her. This full moon in Capricorn gives you the opportunity. And I say that specifically because you are being given the opportunity. It's up to you to perceive it as an opportunity and to take it on yourself. But you are being given the opportunity to be vulnerable this week. And maybe it has to do with your family. Maybe it has to do with your personal goals or your work life, to say, hey, I'm actually in a very difficult place right now. I can't take on too much stuff. I need to sit back and reassess my circumstances. But this Ten of Swords is really saying you can't let all of the spiral stay within you. You have to release some of it. You have to vocalize and verbalize some of it. And that might feel like a very vulnerable action for you to do. So I'm giving you the bravery to do that, the courage, and the love. So I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hello, pile 2. You chose this Moonstone card. The affirmation that comes with that is, I am in the divine flow of my soul rhythms and life cycles. That's beautiful. Really in touch with your intuitive self, with your feminine side, and with the moon, really. So pay attention to where the moon is this week. I think it starts off in Sagittarius. So maybe that's giving you a little bit more air of optimism. And like I said, with Jupiter, there's so much emphasis already on expansion and growth and enlargement, right? So let's see what the major theme is for you this week. What is it that you're really focusing on for the week? There it is. The Hierophant. Look at that. The Hierophant is ruled by Sagittarius too. It's co-ruled by Taurus, but that's so interesting that Sagittarius came up when talking about the moon. So if you have any heavy Sagittarius placements, let me know in the comments too, because this seems like kind of directed at you right now. So let's see. The major theme for this week is getting out of, I think it's like getting away from all of the stimulation right now. I feel like I said this last week in one of the piles too, but getting away from social media, getting away from all of this overwhelming information that's being thrown at you. And that could mean at work as well. It could mean your personal life. I almost feel like take the weekend away, take 2 days away from your regular day-to-day life, because it might be nice for you to sort of reconnect with just who you are, not all the things that you do, not all the things you take care of. This full moon in Capricorn could be giving you this insight about how much you are doing, and how much you really don't have to do. And the fact that just because you do a lot you don't have to identify with everything that you do. You don't have to identify with your responsibilities. You are a human regardless of everything else you do. And so I almost feel like getting away could give you the opportunity to really like recenter, feel your energy, not the energy that you're taking on from others, not the energy you're absorbing from the world right now, just yours, and reconnecting with who you are. And I almost want you, if you wouldn't mind, to just like close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say who you are. I am Mimí, right? So say who you are. I'm going to give you a little moment. Take some deep breaths and just repeat, I am your name. Reconnecting with your energy. Recalibrating. I hope you did that with me. If not, that's fine. If you felt uncomfortable or you weren't in a situation where you felt like you could, totally fine. But I would say that if you didn't do that now, find some time throughout the week to really reconnect with just you, just your bare minimum, right? Your baseline. And that's not at all like really heavily based on what the Hierophant means. But this Hierophant specifically, just there's something about this mandala, this orb that like was not vibing with hers. And I feel like just getting away from somebody else's energy might remind you what your energy is. You might be identifying with other people or identifying with the things that you do either for other people or just in general. You might be identifying too much with all of that rather than identifying as just who you are. So let's look at how this is going to present itself this week. How is this going to present itself throughout the week? I'm going to pick a few cards because there are a few ways. Interesting. Wow, all of these have such exchange energy. So you got the Six of Pentacles. I definitely feel like this could show up in your workplace or where you are exchanging a lot of energy. I also see this in your friend group, which isn't normally where I like equate the Six of Pentacles to when I think of areas of life. I always think of it as sort of like merchant, like you give money and they do something for you or vice versa. But with this, it almost feels like an exchange of value with friends. And it's a really beautiful, a beautiful friendship. It could be a very great friendship or it could be a negative friendship. It doesn't matter. It's just regardless of that, regardless of the group, might be nice for you to just step back and recalibrate, like I said, because maybe you're identifying a little too much with who they are and who you're trying to be when it comes to being around them. And maybe you're not feeling like you're authentically you around those people right now. So to step back, step in your power of who you are, and then return to those friends. You also got this Two of Swords. This to me just feels like the world right now. I just feel like societally we're at this like head to head with our words, with our weapons. That's what I'm really feeling. So that really speaks to me in the way of like social media, getting away from social media, getting away from all of the information that you're absorbing right now. 2-3 days, it's not going to kill you to stop absorbing information, right? The news is going to continue on and on. Information is going to continue on and on. When you get back, just let yourself settle down into your baseline for a couple of days, especially when it comes to everything that society is throwing at you at the moment. And then we also got Justice, which this could definitely speak to society too, but this felt more like it was a personal balance, just an inner balance. In moments of, that's ruled by Libra, and I'm feeling Aries energy from it, in moments of reactionism, in moments of wanting to battle, of argument, of feeling rage or angry, in those moments, that's where it's going to present to you. That's where it's going to show you that's why you need to relax. That's why you need to settle down and settle into your personal power. I'm going to pull a card on what your personal power is. Again, this is a general reading, so if it doesn't resonate with you, don't take it. But I think that there's someone here who's sort of lost and doesn't really know what their personal power is. Yeah. The King of Swords. That's so spot on. For what I'm feeling from this reading is that you're being so bombarded by other people's energy, other people's words, their thoughts, their weapons, that you're not able to step into your own power of your opinions, of your thoughts, of your feelings of the situation for this week. So this week, really letting yourself sit back and go, but how do I actually feel about this? Or even not feel, what do I actually think of this? What is my opinion about this? What are the facts that I need in order to feel a certain form of secure in how I present myself? So that is your power. The King of Swords is just how well you can sit in your thoughts and feelings in the circumstances of this week. I hope that made sense to whoever needed that. Let's see what this overall, right? Like, what is this week in the grand scheme of things teaching you in the long term? There it is. The Three of Wands. That's so interesting. Pile 1 also got Justice and the Three of Wands. This week is giving you a little tidbit of a lesson when it comes to prioritizing yourself, when it comes to placing your personal goals at the forefront, not goals that you feel like you have to achieve because society tells you to, not goals that feel like a burden or a weight. Sometimes your goal can be a complete release of all the weight, right? So it's exactly the opposite. What this week is really teaching you in the long term and in the grand scheme of things is how to put yourself first, how to take care of your needs, your desires, and how to actually contain the passion. Passion is a beautiful thing. Passion is a wonderful thing to have. I mean, as a fire sign, I love passion. I love meeting people who are passionate about what they do. But all of that passion, if volatile, if in a situation that is not particularly harmonious, all that passion can come out in a very negative way. And what this week is teaching you in a Libran way is how to notice and observe the passion come up, and then how to say, okay, I'm going to sit with this passion for a bit, because that's your energy, right? Some of that is your energy. Some of it might just be anger that's thrown at you, so then you project it onto others. But really about wrangling passion and understanding where it's coming from, and then able to communicate yourself effectively and honestly and authentically. So pile 2, I hope that was helpful. I'm sending you guys a lot of love. Just because you're taking a break from people, maybe it's people you really love, just because you're taking a break from them doesn't mean you don't love them, right? It just means you need a moment to reconnect with who you are. At the end of the day, we are all individuals, and we are all the sole responsibility of ourselves. And ultimately we are, I don't want to sound depressing during this because it's actually very empowering. Ultimately, we are alone in this. It is our responsibility to take care of us. So make sure that you're taking care of you, and show people how you deserve to be cared for. So yeah, with that, I will leave you. I'm sending you a lot of love, and I will see you next time. Bye. All right, pile 3, you chose this Tiger's Eye card, and the affirmation that comes with it is, I am courageous, and this energy supports me throughout my life. So maybe something about this week is really going to offer you up the chance to show your courage. I'm just imagining all the people being like, no, thank you, and leaving. All right, so let's see. Let's look at what the major theme of this week is. I'm going to do this Pride deck. What is the major theme of this week? The major focus for pile 3 people. Ooh, the Chariot. Chariot is ruled by Cancer, and it really demonstrates and sort of exhibits like the cardinal energy of Cancer. Cancer is one of those signs that is cardinal, but it seems more like an internal and slower going sign, but it's actually an action taker. And Cancer always takes action through emotion, right? They have a motivation, they have a desire to follow through when it comes to how they feel about a situation. And so they take leadership, they initiate through what feels important to them. So for you this week, it feels like it's a good week to start a project. It's a good week to let your emotion lead you, not control you, right? If you feel like, oh, okay, well, Mimí said just let my emotion guide me. So I'm just going to scream at everybody because I'm feeling angry or I'm feeling sad and I'm just going to sob at everybody. That's not what I mean. I mean, letting your emotion guide you in the actions that you take towards self-betterment. If you allow your emotions to control you, you are not doing anything productive. You are just giving in to emotion. And emotion is sort of a tricky power because so many see it as a weakness, right? People see crying as a weakness. For myself, I cry so that I can release and move on. I cry, well, most of the time, I'm not perfect, I'm a human. And sometimes I'll cry because I just want to wallow in self-pity, and sometimes that's productive too, right? But I'm really feeling this energy of let's not go projecting all of our emotion onto other people just because Mimí said that I should. It's more about how do you let your emotions show you what is really important to you? How do you allow what you're feeling to guide how you go about your life this week? So we're going to look at sort of how that's going to present itself to you throughout the week, right? What situations, circumstances, how are we going to allow emotion to guide us? Wow. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to lie. Some of you are probably going through a breakup. We got the Knight of Cups and the Tower. Literally, as I said, emotion guiding you. That is the Knight of Cups. The Knight is charging forward, taking action, and Cups is emotion. So Knight lets its feeling, the Knight of Cups allows its feelings to just take it and go. We do also have the Tower here. And the Knight of Cups is known as the romantic card, or the romancer, you know, the knight in shining armor who's romancing you and swaying you, whatever, courting you. And so we've also got the Tower. I do feel like there are some sudden changes that are going to happen for some of you when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to what you've been chasing lately or what's been chasing you. Maybe you really felt like it's time to, this is an interesting message. Maybe you have felt for a little while like, okay, I really got to do this thing. And honestly, it's too late now. If you haven't done it, then it's time to move on. Again, if that doesn't resonate with you, don't take it, because this is a general reading. It's really for whoever it really resonates with. So, you know, if you're in this relationship that you just know it's not right. Maybe now is the time to let your emotions guide you. And you're really going to be feeling these emotions. That full moon in Capricorn, I mean, we all really feel the emotions around the full moon. We all get a little bit crazier. So allow those emotions, not crazier in that sense, but in my own head, I just reheard what I said. But allow the emotions to come up. Let's not blow up though, right? We're not just going to blow up and run away like this little lemur here. We're not going to blow up a tower and just leave. But letting the big emotions come up, letting yourself observe them rather than just shoving them down or pushing them down, and then moving through them. Okay, we're not just going to like break somebody's heart and run away. Maybe allowing yourself to have the conversation. And so that's one example that it's going to present itself to you. I also see this Nine of Wands. I see defensiveness. I see some inner anger that really needs to come up that maybe has been pushed down. And instead of like letting that anger just like eat you alive, maybe do something with that energy. That anger is giving you energy. And instead of burning out, you could use that energy to do what you care about, right? Like I'm thinking, if there's something you really care about and you're really mad about it, why don't you make like a fundraiser or something? Or why don't you, start a project in honor of this thing that you're mad about, to try and like put some good out there from your anger, turning that anger into a positive thing. And let's see, how else is this going to present itself to you? This is a different deck, but it wanted to come out. The Five of Wands. Wow. Yeah, I really see like the transmutation of energy coming through very strongly for you. That turning whatever it is you're feeling inside, turning it into something else, like molding it, like pottery or something. Like it might be a good time for you to get in the earth or garden or do some pottery, like creating something out of something else, making something positive out of something negative. That's going to be really important for you this week. And I think that's how it's going to present itself to you. When I think about Mercury square Jupiter, I really think about like, okay, shifting the way that you perceive something to have a more positive outlook and seeing the bigger picture. So this Nine of Wands and the Five of Wands, they're not feeling super harmonious or peaceful or graceful or sweet. They are feeling angry. They're feeling upset. They're grieving. And so notice the big emotions that come up for you this week. And if it's not in you, notice them in other people, because other people might be having really big feelings. Other people might be very defensive this week. And instead of being like, oh my gosh, I must have said something wrong, let's not perceive it that way. Let's perceive that everything that somebody else is doing is a reflection on how they are feeling right now, or all of the things that they're taking on right now emotionally. Granted, I'm not trying to invalidate if somebody comes to you with like a valid conversation. But if you say something that was fair and, was right and didn't have any like fuel behind it, and somebody receives it and acts out in response, that is not a reflection on your energy. That's a reflection on what they're going through right now. So any sort of defensiveness that you're being thrown right now, let your emotions communicate with you, but don't let them take over, right? Don't let them control what you do next. Let's not be reactionary this week. So let's see what this is teaching you in the long run, right? What is it that we're learning long term that this week is presenting to us? Ooh, that's too many cards, but I do feel this top card. Wow, all 3 cards have gotten a different version of this, or all 3 piles have gotten a different version of this card. The 3 of Inspiration, the 3 of Wands. Yeah, what this is really showing you is the domino effect. I mean, it's kind of obvious there are dominoes on it. But the 3 of Wands is this card of, you know, like, okay, here's step 1. Now let's see how it all plays out. And so the ripple effect that you are being shown this week. Like what one little thing, how that one little thing can make an impact. So maybe if you do find yourself in this like heated conversation or heavy conversation, instead of reacting back, responding with love and care and seeing how that shifts somebody else's energy. Now, again, if they're like being abusive or berating you or, you know, just being very unfair, I'm not saying that you need to take it, but as an experiment, maybe see just how shifting the energy, shifting it from that negative thing and turning it into that positive energy, like I said earlier, how that can really make an impact, not just to them, but for you too. The way that you are able to receive like negative, smoky, gray energy and turn it into like this bright yellow orange, if that makes sense to anybody. If you speak color, then there you get it. But turning that gray smokiness into like this orange, this brightness, see how you have the power to do that. I think the full moon in Capricorn is going to be a big one for you when it comes to being able to shift the energy and making it your choice to shift that energy yourself. All right, pile 3. I hope that was helpful. I'm sending you a lot of love and I will see you next time. Bye.